Close your eyes and let the gentle patter of rain surround you. Today, I am going to read you an hour-long collection of classic poetry, read in a soft-spoken voice that will slowly melt into delicate whispers, like raindrops trickling down your window. Feel the rhythm of each word, the soothing syllables, the crisp consonants, and the soft letters, all blending with the rain, to lull you into deep relaxation. Let the words and the storm carry you away. Now, let's begin. Who Has Seen the Wind by Christina Rossetti. Who has seen the wind? Neither I nor you. But when the leaves hang trembling, the wind is passing through. Who has seen the wind? Neither you nor I. But when the trees bow down their heads, the wind is passing by. My Shadow by Robert Louis Stevenson. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me, from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow. Not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller, like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey, as that shadow sticks to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shining dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an errant, sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me, and was fast asleep in bed. Bed in Summer by Robert Louis Stevenson. In winter I get up at night, and dress by yellow candlelight. In summer quite the other way. I have to go to bed by day. I have to go to bed and see the birds still hopping on the tree, or hear the grown-up people's feet still going past me in the street. And does it not seem hard to you, when all the sky is clear and blue, and I should like so much to play, to have to go to bed by day? A Jellyfish by Marianne Moore. Visible, invisible, a fluctuating charm, an amber-colored amethyst inhabits it. Your arm approaches, and it opens and it closes. You have meant to catch it, and it shrivels. You abandon your intent. It opens, and it closes, and you reach for it. The blue surrounding it grows cloudy, and it floats away from you. Good Night by Paul Laurence Dunbar. The lark is silent in his nest, the breeze sighing in its flight. Sleep, love, and peaceful be thy rest. Good night, my love. Good night, good night. Sweet dreams attend thee in thy sleep, to soothe thy rest till morning's light, and angels round thee vigil keep. Good night, my love. Good night, good night. Sleep well, my love, on night's dark breast, and ease thy soul with slumber bright. Be joy but thine, and I am blessed. Good night, my love. Good night, good night. When the Green Lies Over the Earth, by Angelina Weld Grimké. When the green lies over the earth, my dear, a mantle of witching grace, when the smile and the tear of the young child year dimple across its face, and then flee when the wind all day is sweet, with the breath of growing things, when the wooing bird lights on restless feet, and chirrups and trills, and sings to his lady love in the green above. Then oh, my dear, when the youth's in the year, yours is the face that I long to have near. Yours is the face, my dear. But the green is hiding your curls, my dear, your curls so shining and sweet, and the gold-hearted daisies this many a year have bloomed and bloomed at your feet, and the little birds just above your head, with their voices hushed, my dear, for you have sung, and have prayed, and have pled, this many, many a year. And the blossoms fall on the garden wall, and drift like snow on the green below, but the sharp thorn grows on the budding rose, and my heart no more leaps at the sunset glow. For oh, my dear, when the youth's in the year, yours is the face that I long to have near. Yours is the face, my dear. Mistress' Quiet Eyes, by James Stephens. While I sit beside the window, I can hear the pigeons coo, that the air is warm and blue, and how well the young bird flew. Then I fold my arms, and scold the heart that thought the pigeons knew. While I sit beside the window, I can watch the flowers grow, till the seeds are ripe and blow to the fruitful earth below. Then I shut my eyes and tell my heart, the flowers cannot know. While I sit beside the window, I am growing old and drear. Does it matter what I hear, what I see, or what I fear? I can fold my hands and hush my heart that is straining to a tear. The earth is gay with leaf and flower, the fruit is ripe upon the tree. The pigeons coo in the swinging bower, but I sit wearily, watching a beggar woman nurse a baby on her knee. Summer Dreams, by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. When the summer sun is shining, and the green things push and grow, oft my heart runs over measure, with its flowing fount of pleasure. As I feel the sea winds blow, ah, then life is good, I know. And I think of sweet birds building, and of children fair and free, and of glowing sun-kissed meadows, and of tender twilight shadows, and of boats upon the sea. Oh, then life seems good to me. Then, unbidden and unwanted, come the darker, sadder sights. City shop and stifling alley, where misfortune's children rally, and the hot crime-breeding nights, and the dearth of God's delights. And I think of narrow prisons where unhappy songbirds dwell, and of cruel pens and cages where some captured wild thing rages, like a madman in his cell, in the zoo, the wild beast's hell. And I long to lift the burden of man's selfishness and sin, and to open wide earth's treasures of God's storehouse full of pleasures for my dumb and human kin, and to ask the whole world in. A Starry Night by Paul Laurence Dunbar. A cloud fell down from the heavens and broke on the mountain's brow. It scattered the dusky fragments all over the vale below. The moon and the stars were anxious to know what its fate might be, so they rushed to the azure opening and all peered down to see. What Makes the Summer by Marietta Holley. It is not the lark's clear tone, cleaving the morning air with a soaring cry, nor the nightingale's dulcet melody all the balmy night. Not these alone make the sweet sounds of summer, but the drone of beetle and bee, the murmurous hum of the fly, and the chirp of the cricket hidden out of sight. These help to make the summer. Not roses redly blown, nor golden lilies lighting the dusky meads, nor proud imperial pansies, nor queen cups quaint and rare. Not these alone make the sweet sights of summer, but the countless forest leaves, the myriad wayside weeds, and slender grasses springing up everywhere. These help to make the summer. One heaven bends above, the lowliest head ofttimes has sweetest rest, or songbird in the pine and bee in the ivy low is the same love. It is all God's summer. Well pleased is he if we patiently do our best. So hum, little bee, and low green grasses grow. You help to make the summer. The Captive Lion by William Henry Davies. Thou that in fury with thy knotted tail hast made this iron floor thy beaten drum, that now in silence walk'st thy little space, like a sea captain, careless what may come. What power has brought thy majesty to this, who gave those eyes their dull and sleepy look, who took their lighting out, and from thy throat the thunder when the whole wide forest shook? It was that man who went again, alone, into thy forest dark. Lord, he was brave. That man a fly has killed, whose bones are left unburied till an earthquake digs his grave. Horoscope by Waldo Emerson. Ere he was born, the stars of fate plotted to make him rich and great. When from the womb the babe was loosed, the gates of gifts behind him closed. Tiger and Elephant by James McIntyre. On Ganges' banks roams the tiger, and lion rules by the Niger. Hunter heard shrill cry of peacocks, in Indian jungles go in flocks. And he saw a tiger crouch and spring, to crush a bird with beauteous wing. But the tiger missed his aim, and he hung his head with shame. Then there came a mighty crush of elephants rush through the brush. The tiger, cat-like, crouched on ground, and elephants rushed in with bound. In front was baby elephant, to crush its bones did tiger want. But mother saw fierce forest ranger, and she gave a cry of danger. Leader of herd he madly rushed, resolved the tiger should be crushed. But tiger strove to run away, willing to relinquish prey. But when he found that he must fight, on elephant's back he strove to light. But elephant struck him with his foot, and then with tusks he did him root. So now once more must praise be sung to beasts who nobly fight for young, and grateful feelings were now stirred towards the leader of the herd. Walking at Eve by Frederick Freeman. Walking at eve I met a little child, running beside a tragic-featured dame, who checked his blitheness with a quick foreshame, and seemed by sharp caprice froward and mild. Scarce heeding her, the sweet one ran, beguiled, by the lit street in his eyes to a flame. Only at whiles into his eyes there came bewilderment and grief with terror wild. So beauty dost thou run with tragic life, so with the curious world's caress enchanted, even of ill things thine ecstasy dost make. Yet at the touch of fear and vital strife, the splendors thy young innocency forsake, and with thy foster mother's woe thou art haunted. Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it's queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there's some mistake. The only other sound's the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. This Living Hand by Keats. This living hand, now warm and capable of earnest grasping, would, if it were cold, and in the icy silence of the tomb, so haunt thy days and chill thy dreaming nights, that thou wouldst wish thine own heart dry of blood, so in my veins red life might stream again, and thou be conscious calmed. See, here it is. I hold it towards you. Children of Light by Robert Lowell. Our fathers wrung their beard from stocks and stones, and fenced their gardens with the red men's bones. Embarking from the netherland of Holland, pilgrims unhouseled by Geneva's night, they planted here the serpent's seeds of light, and here the pivoting searchlights probed to shock the riotous glass houses built on rock, and candles gutter by an empty altar, and light is where the landless blood of Cain is burning, burning the unburied grain. The Call by Frederick Freeman. Is it the wind that stirs the trees? Is it the trees that scratch the wall? Is it the wall that shakes and mutters? Is it a dumb ghost's call? The wind steals in and twirls the candle. The branches heave and brush the wall. But more than tree or wild wind mutters, this night of all. Open, a cry sounds, and I gasp. Open, and hands beat door and wall. Open, and each dark echo mutters. I rise, a shape and shadow tall. Open, across the room I falter, and near the door, crouched by the wall, thrice bolt the door as the voice mutters. Open, and frail strokes fall. Open, the lights out, and I shrink, quaking and blind against the wall. Open, no sound is, yet it mutters. Within me now this night of all. Was it the wind that stirred the trees? Was it the trees that scratched the wall? Was it the wall that shook and muttered? or love's last ghostly call. To the River by Edgar Allan Poe. Fair river, in thy bright clear flow of crystal wandering water, thou art an emblem of the glow of beauty, the unhidden heart, the playful maziness of art in old Alberto's daughter. But when within thy wave she looks, which glistens then and trembles, why then the prettiest of brooks her worshipper resembles. For in his heart, as in thy stream, her image deeply lies, his heart which trembles at the beam of her soul-searching eyes. Hope by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all, and sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. How Do I Love Thee? Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight. For the ends of being and ideal grace, I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely, as men strive for right. I love thee purely, as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose. With my lost saints, I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God chooses, I shall but love thee better after death. She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes, thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek, and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days and goodness spent, a mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent. Bright Star by John Keats. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient, sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel forever its soft fall and swell, awake forever in a sweet unrest, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon to death. When You Are Old by W.B. Yeats. When you are old and gray and full of sleep, and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. How many loved your moments of glad grace, and loved your beauty with love, false or true, and loved your beauty with love, false or true. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, and loved the sorrows of your changing face, and bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur, a little sadly, how love fled, and paced upon the mountains overhead, and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with the sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single, all things by a law divine. In one spirit meet and mingle, why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it is disdained its brother, and the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? Meeting at Night by Robert Browning. The grey sea, and the long black land, and the yellow half-moon large and low, and the startled little waves that leap in fiery ringlets from their sleep, as I gain the cove with pushing prow, and quench its speed in the slushy sand. Then a mile of warm sea-scented beach, 3 fields to cross till a farm appears, a tap at the pane, the quick sharp scratch, and blue spurt of a lighted match, and a voice less loud, throw its joys and fears, then the 2 hearts beating each to each. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou oust, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growst. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. A Red, Red Rose by Robert Burns. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands o' life shall run, and fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 mile. To Celia, Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes, by Ben Jonson. Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine, or leave a kiss but in the cup, and I'll not look for a while. The thirst that from the soul doth rise, doth ask a drink divine, but might I of Jove's nectar sup, I would not change for thine. I sent thee late a rosy wreath, not so much honoring thee, as giving it a hope that there it could not withered be. But thou thereon didst only breathe, and sentest it back to me, since when it grows and smells, I swear, not of itself, but thee. The Passionate Shepherd to His Love, by Christopher Marlowe. Come live with me, and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove, that valleys, groves, hills, and fields, woods, or steepy mountain yields. And we will sit upon the rocks, seeing the shepherds feed their flocks, by shallow rivers to whose falls melodious birds sing madrigals. And I will make thee beds of roses, and 1,000 fragrant posies, a cap of flowers and a kirtle, embroidered all with leaves of myrtle, a gown made of the finest wool, which from our pretty lambs we pull, fair lined slippers for the cold, with buckles of the purest gold, a belt of straw and ivy buds, with coral clasps and amber studs. And if these pleasures may thee move, come live with me, and be my love. The shepherd swains shall dance and sing, for thy delight each May morning. If these delights my mind may move, then live with me, and be my love. Wild Nights, by Emily Dickinson. Wild nights, were I with thee, wild nights should be our luxury. Futile the winds, to a heart in port, done with the compass, done with the chart, rowing in Eden, ah, the sea, might I but moor tonight in thee. Love is Not All, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Love is not all. It is not meat nor drink, nor slumber, nor a roof against the rain, nor yet a floating spar to men that sink, and rise and sink and rise and sink again. Love cannot fill the thickened lung with breath, nor clean the blood, nor set the fractured bone. Yet many a man is making friends with death, even as I speak. For lack of love alone, it well may be that in a difficult hour, pinned down by pain, and moaning for release, or nagged by want past resolution's power, I might be driven to sell your love for peace, or trade the memory of this night for food. It well may be, I do not think I would. I Carry Your Heart With Me by E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are, my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing as you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the sky, of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart. To Be One with Each Other by George Eliot. What greater thing is there for two human souls than to feel that they are joined for life, to strengthen each other in all labor, to rest on each other in all sorrow, to minister to each other in all pain, to be the one with each other in silent, unspeakable memories, at the moment of the last parting. Love by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. All thoughts, all passions, all delights, whatever stirs this mortal frame, all are but ministers of love and feed his sacred flame. Oft in my waking dreams do I live o'er again that happy hour, when midway on the mount I lay, beside the ruined tower. The moonshine, stealing o'er the scene, had blended with the lights of eve, and she was there, my hope, my joy, my own dear Genevieve. She leant against the armed man, the statue of the armed knight. She stood and listened to my lay, amid the lingering light. Few sorrows hath she of her own, my hope, my joy, my Genevieve. She loves me the best, whene'er I sing the songs that make her grieve. When we two parted by Lord Byron, when we two parted in silence and tears, half broken-hearted, to sever for years, pale grew thy cheek and cold, colder thy kiss, truly that hour foretold sorrow to this. The dew of the morning sank chill on my brow. It felt like the warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken, and share in its shame. They name thee before me, a knell to mine ear. A shudder comes o'er me. Why wert thou so dear? They know not I know thee, who knew thee too well. Long, long shall I rue thee, too deeply to tell. The Kiss by Sarah Teasdale. Before you kissed me, only winds of heaven had kissed me, and the tenderness of rain. Now you have come. How can I care for kisses like theirs again? I sought the sea. She sent her winds to meet me. They surged about me, singing of the south. I turned my head away to keep still holy. Your kiss upon my mouth. and swift, sweet rains of shining April weather found not my lips where living kisses are. I bowed my head, lest they put out my glory, as rain puts out a star. I am my love's, and he is mine forever, sealed with a seal, and safe forevermore. Think you that I could let a beggar enter where a king stood before? Love's Language by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. How does love speak? In the faint flush upon the telltale cheek, and in the pallor that succeeds it, by the quivering lid of an averted eye, the smile that proves the parent to a sigh. Thus doth love speak. How does love speak? By the uneven heart throbs and the freak of bounding pulses that stand still and ache, while new emotions like strange barges make along vain channels their disturbing course, still as the dawn, and with the dawn's swift force. Thus doth love speak. How does love speak? In the avoidance of that which we seek, the sudden silence and reserve when near, the eye that glistens with an unshed tear, the joy that seems the counterpart of fear, as the alarmed heart leaps in the breast, and knows and names and greets its godlike guest. Thus doth love speak. How does love speak? In the proud spirit suddenly grown meek, the haughty heart grown humble in the tender and unnamed light that floods the world with splendor, in the resemblance which the fond eyes trace in all fair things to one beloved face, in the shy touch of hands that thrill and tremble, in looks and lips that can no more dissemble. Thus doth love speak. How does love speak? In the wild words that uttered seem so weak, they shrink ashamed in silence in the fire. Glance strikes with glance, swift flashing higher and higher, like lightnings that precede the mighty storm, in the deep soulful stillness, in the warm, impassioned tide that sweeps through throbbing veins, between the shores of keen delights and pains, in the embrace where madness melts in bliss, and in the convulsive rapture of a kiss. Thus doth love speak. A Valentine by Edgar Allan Poe. For her this rhyme is penned, whose luminous eyes, brightly expressive as the twins of Lowell, shall find her own sweet name that nestling lies upon the page, enwrapped from every reader. Search narrowly the lines, they hold a treasure divine, a talisman, an amulet, that must be worn at heart. Search well the measure, the words, the syllables. Do not forget the trivialist point, or you may lose your labor. And yet there is in this no Gordian knot, which one might not undo without a saber, if one could merely comprehend the plot, enwritten upon the leaf, where now are peering eyes scintillating soul, their lie produce. 3 eloquent words, oft uttered in the hearing of poets by poets, as the name is a poet's too. Its letters, although naturally lying, like the knight Pinto Mendez Ferdinando, still form a synonym for truth. Cease trying. You will not read the riddle, though you do the best you can do. The Garden of Love by William Blake. I went to the Garden of Love and saw what I never had seen. A chapel was built in the midst, where I used to play on the green, and the gates of this chapel were shut, and thou shalt not writ over the door. So I turned to the Garden of Love, that so many sweet flowers bore, and I saw it was filled with graves, and tombstones where flowers should be, and priests in black gowns were walking their rounds, and binding with briars my joys and desires. A Birthday by Christina Rossetti. My heart is like a singing bird, whose nest is in a watered shoot. My heart is like an apple tree, whose boughs are bent with thick-set fruit. My heart is like a rainbow shell that paddles in the Halcyon Sea. My heart is gladder than all these, because my love is come to me. Raise me a dais of silk and down, hang it with fair and purple dyes, carve it in doves and pomegranates, and peacocks with 100 eyes. Work it in gold and silver grapes, in leaves and silver fleur-de-lis, because the birthday of my life is come, my love is come to me. The Good-Morrow by John Donne. I wonder, by my troth, what thou and I did till we loved. Were we not weaned till then, but sucked on country pleasures childishly? Or snorted we in the 7 sleepers' den? 'Twas so, but this all pleasures fancies be. If ever any beauty I did see, which I desired and got, 'twas but a dream of thee. And now, good morrow to our waking souls, which watch not one another out of fear. For love, all love of other sights controls, and makes one little room in everywhere. Let sea discoverers to new worlds have gone. Let maps to other worlds on worlds have shown. Let us possess one world, each hath one, and is one. My face in thine eye, thine in mine appears, and true plain hearts do in the faces rest. Where can we find two better hemispheres, without sharp north, without declining west? Whatever dies was not mixed equally. If our two loves be one, or thou and I, love so alike, that none do slacken, none can die. Love Armed by Aphra Ben. Love in fantastic triumph sat, whilst bleeding hearts around him flowed, for whom fresh pains he did create, and strange tyrannic power he showed. From thy bright eyes he took his fire, which round about in sport he hurled, but 'twas from mine he took desire, enough to undo the amorous world. From me he took his sighs and tears, from thee his pride and cruelty, from me his languishments and fears, and every killing dart from thee. Thus thou and I the god have armed, and set him up a deity, but my poor heart alone is harmed, whilst thine the victor is, and free. To my dear and loving husband, by Anne Bradstreet. If ever two were one, then surely we. If ever man were loved by his wife, then thee. If ever wife was happy in a man, compare with me, ye women, if you can. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the East doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay. The heavens reward thee manifold, I pray. Then while we live, in love let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever. The Night Has 1,000 Eyes by Francis William Bourdillon. The night has 1,000 eyes, and the day but one. Yet the light of the bright world dies with the dying sun. The mind has 1,000 eyes, and the heart but one. Yet the light of a whole life dies when love is done. O Mistress Mine by William Shakespeare. O Mistress Mine, where are you roaming? Oh, stay and hear your true love's coming, that can sing both high and low. Trip no further, pretty sweeting. Journeys end in lovers' meeting. Every wise man's son doth know. What is love? 'Tis not hereafter. Present mirth hath present laughter. What's to come is still unsure. In delay there lies no plenty. Then come kiss me, sweet and 20. Youth's a stuff will not endure. Absence, hear thou my protestation, by John Hoskins. Absence, hear thou my protestation. Against thy strength distance and length. Do what thou canst for alteration. For hearts of truest metal, absence doth join, and time doth settle. Who loves a mistress of such quality? He soon hath found affection's ground, beyond time, place, and all mortality. To hearts that cannot vary, absence is present, time doth tarry. My senses want their outward motions, which now within reason doth win, redoubled in her secret notions, like rich men that take pleasure in hiding more than handling treasure. By absence this good means I gain, that I can catch her, where none can watch her, in some close corner of my brain. There I embrace and kiss her, and so I both enjoy and miss her. The Garden by Andrew Marvell. How vainly men themselves amaze to win the palm, the oak, or bays, and their uncessant labors see, crowned from some single herb or tree, whose short and narrow-verged shade does prudently their tolls upbraid, while all flowers and all trees do close to weave the garlands of repose. Fair quiet have I found thee here, and innocence thy sister dear. Mistaken long I sought you then, in busy companies of men. Your sacred plants, if here below, only among the plants will grow. Society is all but rude to this delicious solitude. No white nor red was ever seen, so amorous as this lovely green. Fond lovers, cruel as their flame, cut in these trees their mistress's name. Little, alas, they know or heed how far these beauties hers exceed. Fair trees, where'er your barks I wound, no name shall but your own be found. When we have run our passion's heat, love hither makes his best retreat. The gods that mortal beauty chase, still in a tree did end their race. Apollo hunted Daphne so, only that she might laurel grow. And Pan did after Syrinx speed, not as a nymph, but for a reed. What wondrous life in this I led, ripe apples drop about my head. The luscious clusters of the vine upon my mouth do crush their wine. The nectarine and curious peach into my hands themselves do reach, stumbling on melons as I pass. Ensnared with flowers, I fell on grass. Meanwhile the mind, from pleasure less, withdraws into its happiness. The mind, that ocean where each kind does straight its own resemblance to find, yet it creates, transcending these, far other worlds and other seas, annihilating all that's made to a green thought in a green shade. Here at the fountain's sliding foot, or at some fruit tree's mossy root, casting the body's vest aside, my soul into the boughs does glide. There like a bird it sits and sings, then whets and combs its silver wings, until prepared for longer flight, waves in its plumes the various light. Such was that happy garden state, while man there walked without a mate, after a place so pure and sweet. What other help could yet be meet? But 'twas beyond a mortal's share to wander solitary there. Two paradises 'twere in one, to live in paradise alone. How well the skilful gardener drew of flowers and herbs this dial knew, where from above the milder sun does through a fragrant zodiac run, and as it works, the industrious bee computes its time as well as we. How could such sweet and wholesome hours be reckoned but with herbs and flowers? I Am Not Yours by Sarah Teasdale. I am not yours, not lost in you. Not lost, although I long to be. Lost as a candle lit at noon, lost as a snowflake in the sea. You love me, and I find you still, a spirit beautiful and bright. Yet I am I, who long to be, lost as a light is lost in light. Oh, plunge me deep in love, put out my senses, leave me deaf and blind, swept by the tempest of your love, a taper in a rushing wind. Beauty That Is Never Old by James Weldon Johnson. When buffeted and beaten by life's storms, when by the bitter cares of life oppressed, I want no surer haven than your arms. I want no sweeter heaven than your breast. When over my life's way there falls the blight of sunless days and nights of starless skies, enough for me the calm and steadfast light that softly shines within your loving eyes. The world for me, and all the world can hold, is circled by your arms. For me there lies, within the lights and shadows of your eyes, the only beauty that is never old. As the final poem ends and the rain continues to fall, I hope this time together helped you relax and unwind. Thank you for listening. And if somehow you're still awake and you happen to enjoy this video, I would deeply appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, and shared it with someone who might also need a moment of calm. I'd also love to hear from you, so please leave a comment with any feedback or suggestions for future readings. Until next time, sleep well and dream deeply. Good night.